Should I shave my head?
No, I don't
No.
think so. No, no,
I still got a little hair
that's
up
the
there.
thing. When you find something good and then you keep
Yeah, you
trying
keep
to
like
improve
that.
upon it, it makes it
Then
worse.
from there you shave. I have to shave my back, and then
Uh,
we could go into all kinds of different.
Yuck. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about that. Listen, let's
All right.
talk about the subject that you walked in
I
here
walked
talking
in
about.
and I was talking out loud, and I said, you know what? I am so tired of the Russian thing. I'm so tired of them, harping on Donald Trump Jr. about these emails, which he disclosed and showed transparently. I mean, here's a guy that's probably had some, little bit of naivety where he sent some emails to the Russians or whatever because they probably set him up, and I'm sure the Clinton campaign or the Obamas or whatever, made the Russians say, hey, why don't you send. And I think we should get into that maybe a little bit. Where everybody's talking about how Donald Trump Jr. Is trying to go collude with the Russians, but we don't know what the circumstances are, and I can't even understand. And I was talking to Ed about this before. Why is it that Hillary Clinton they sold off 20% of the mineral rights to the Russians, and then there was all kinds of donations to the Clinton Foundation, but nobody talks about that. In my opinion, I think we should delve into that. How about this thing with her emails where they asked to see her server and everything? Oh, geez, just by coincidence, I had my crew smash the server and destroy the server the other day. Oh, and by the way, my phone, yeah, well, it's smashed also.
Well, we also have
Can't
an
take
office
it. Can't
policy,
take it. Can't take
and
it.
I'm joking, of course, here. Of every couple weeks we like to smash all of our computers and
Oh yeah,
phones as well.
It's a smash computer Friday.
Yeah.
And then Monday you go out, you buy new computers.
Well,
and
no,
phones.
Sunday you do it so you're ready to go
that's
back
true.
on Monday.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I can't take it. It's like you and the thing with Benghazi. I mean, everybody goes, oh, they found her innocent. Well, it's like, okay, but you have to have movies about how this thing went down. Why is it that we don't have a country where people can't just come out and say, yeah, this is the way it happened. No, that's not the way. No, it didn't happen this way. We've got soldiers that were over there that were, they had gag orders put on them and everything. It gets to the point where, and now with the, I just heard recently that almost 140, I believe, I can't remember the exact number, but like there's like 140 of Donald Trump's cabinet still hasn't been confirmed yet. And, by this time, Barack Obama had over 200 or 250 of his cabinet confirmed. So I think there's a concerted effort right now to keep Donald Trump on a I think in the station. I mean, the train. They will not let the train leave the station.
Yeah, I like that metaphor, that visual you just gave
Well,
us. I think that's exactly it. And I'm thinking Donald Trump has the opportunity to appoint so many federal judges, so many federal appellate court judges. I mean, people think about the Supreme Court justices, but there's a whole, trial court and middle appellate court level that he has the power to really mold for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And I want to see him do that.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. Are they going to let him
get
going?
Well, think about it. If Donald Trump gets even 10, 20, 30% more of what he's already done, he could technically be one of the most productive presidents we've probably ever had. But what does that do? That has a situation for the opposite party, the other opposition party, where they're going to look like a bunch of schnoomfs. I don't know what that word means, but I try to use it.
You know, I'm looking over there. Master Control, can you hear me? I think this door's open and that door's open. Could we make sure the doors are
Someone
closed?
could breach our security in the studio.
Well, there's a dog running around. We want to make sure the dog doesn't run out the door. Okay, good. Go ahead.
All right.
I just noticed
So I'm thinking that if we have a president that is actually effectual, you know, actually puts a wall up and does what he actually said he was going to do, which I think he's trying to do, it only looks bad for one group of individuals, and that group of individuals is basically doing everything. They are throwing banana peels in front of him on a, you know, a lot of people would say daily basis. I think they're throwing them down on a minute-by-minute basis. So we're getting to the point now where every path he takes, he comes up with you know, obstructions in his way, and I think at this point, you know,
and it was so different when Obama was elected on both occasions, because there were people that were, I mean, Obama didn't win by that much, you know, and there were Republicans mainly who were not in agreement with his policies, were not pleased that he was elected, but they sat back and said, oh, we're not happy, here we go for the next 4 years.
And you know what?
Every moment wasn't planned to sabotage Obama.
Did I have a tear in my eye when Barack Obama was elected? Yes, I probably did when I woke up that morning, held my mouth open. And it wasn't because he was a black man. I have a bunch of admiration for black conservatives out there. I'd wished we'd had a black conservative as our first black president. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. I think we could have had, the first black president could have been one of the most inspirational individuals ever elected. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way.
They're trying to make him out to be
They're
that
trying
way,
to make
but
him out that way.
It's hard.
In my opinion, he was the biggest socialist pariah that this country's probably ever seen. I think he created the situation with the minorities right now. The Black Lives Matter movement, I believe, flourished with Obama. I think we could have really had some great race relations where we you know, patched up a lot of stuff if we had the proper person in office.
If possible, he seemed to make the divide larger. And I don't know how that could possibly be. You know, and when you're talking about how at every move, in every facet, at every level of our society now, there's a concerted effort to, and I like what you said, put banana peels in President Trump's path. I was listening to The Fan, 660 AM. It's a sports talk radio show out of New York. And they had one of these, you know, minutes with a sportscaster. And he comes in and he talks for a minute about his opinion about something. And I guess the women's golf tournament, whatever it is, the pros, they're playing on one of Donald Trump's golf courses right now. And you'd think talking about women's golf would be as uncontroversial a subject as anything. But they managed. And it's a CBS affiliated station. And CBS is so in the Hillary Clinton camp. It's ridiculous. Everything CBS you hear is so slanted. And it's even taken to the sports, because he said, you know, these women are playing on a golf course owned by Donald Trump, and you would think they'd have some opinion about it. You would think that they would be outraged about it, but you ask them and they give a stock answer, we're just here to play golf. Well, that's not good enough. They should have an opinion. And I'm thinking, on every golf course where they play, somebody owns it. And I'm sure if you looked into the background of whoever owns it, they're probably wealthy, they've been involved in business deals. You could find things that maybe you don't like about them either. But do they question those golf course owners? And why should these women that are there playing golf have to give a political opinion about the owner of the golf course unless they're asked that with every golf course they play on? And my point is, it's just at every insidious level of media that you listen to, just constantly shoving it at you. And most people, after hearing it, it's like when a new song comes out by a band and you listen to it the first time, you're like, you know what, I don't like it that much, it's okay. But then when the radio station plays it once every hour, and I'm talking mainly about in the 70s and 80s when you listen to the radio to hear songs. Now it's so different. But you love it all of a sudden after you hear it so many times, and you're buying it. And that's exactly what's happening with the media now. I think you know, it's just so ingrained. Every level you're hearing it, and people can't resist it.
I think you hit it absolutely, Rachel, right on the head. They are actually trying to brain condition the public to realize that Donald Trump is the pariah, and that he colluded with the Russians, and I think they're going to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. But this is the thing. When Barack Obama was the president, I woke up and I says, okay, he's our president. I didn't go out and I didn't protest. I didn't put hats on that, you know, resembled people's body parts or anything like that. And we had a news media that was absolutely in love with him. Whatever he did, you know, he could do no wrong. You saw him out there playing golf every other day. Got absolutely nothing done. Absolutely nothing done.
No matter how many trips he took to Hawaii, nobody was telling how much it cost. Yes, Master.
I couldn't sit in Master Control and not.
Come on out here, Ed. Come on out here. We got a cheer for you.
No. Trump criticism to the public is like strawberry shortcake. The Democrats love it, and there's members of the public that love it. But when you have strawberry shortcake forced on you every single day, you eventually get sick of strawberry shortcake. You can say the same thing with, it's like a Thanksgiving meal to the Democrats. But if they're going to try to push turkey and stuffing and cranberry sauce and a full plate to us every day, we're going to get sick and tired of turkey.
Well, we see it for what it is. I'm talking about when they slip it in these seemingly, you know, objective stories, like the golf course story I gave about. People aren't watching out for that, and they just take it for what it is. That's. Am I concerned about it? I don't know. I am concerned about it, but what?
I have to just tell people, though, that nobody saw our mouths moving while that audio was coming in. That was Ed Peruta making a statement, you know,
off camera.
Off camera. So if you did see our mouths not moving, I still think you should drag a chair and come on into the studio here. So I think we ought to have a new campaign across the country. If there's any of our people out there, I'm going to call the campaign kick a reporter in the crotch. Whether female or male, I can't take it anymore. I know. Look, I'm getting the disparaging look on Rachel's face. But watch these people on national radio or national television, and they're just talking, and your mouth just drops open because they're talking about non-news items. They're just trying to push. And it's like you could change the channel and see the same thing over and over. You don't see any coverage on important events. All you see is the Donald Trump thing, And I would love the way you see Black Lives people walking down the street with their signs. I would love to see some concerted individual just run up and, you know, just give somebody a good kick in the...
No, we're not advocating that, Mr. Janko.
Oh,
okay?
Come on now.
Oh, that's a joke.
This could be... I know. Well, it is a joke.
You know, I just had a thought. I just had a thought while you were talking about that.
You think about it, though, when
I do not.
You don't think about it?
I deny that. I do not think about that at all.
You don't want to just see somebody get kicked?
We are
maybe in the ass?
We are a nation, a society of laws,
and that's
what I think about.
I don't know. I just...
When you're doing a criminal trial, let's say you're defending somebody who, and this happens on the murder shows all the time, so you're defending somebody who has killed his wife.
Oh, you attorneys all think alike.
And it was by like slow. Well, usually it's the wife. The wife killed the husband slowly by arsenic poisoning or something.
Absolutely.
And she's like, he was just sick. I don't know what happened. Whatever. And everybody believes her and blah blah blah. And then it turns out 15 years before, her first husband died in the same exact way. Okay, and then you start to think, she probably did both of them, right?
Have the dogs taste my food before I eat it.
So they take her to trial on the second husband's death, and the whole issue is, should the first husband's death come into evidence, or will that so prejudice the jury that they won't be able to look at this one case that she's on trial for objectively? So that's an issue you run into in that kind of case, and a lot of kind of cases where somebody's done something that they're accused of, and then there's other things in the past that they're not on trial for, but they're very similar to what they're being accused of now. So you're thinking, well, you know, if they did these, where there's smoke, there's fire, basically. And my point is this whole Russia thing is, if they were telling me that Russia somehow hacked into the voting booths or the voting computers, whatever technology we have, and changed the votes, like they were able to, if somebody went and voted for Clinton,
which both sides have said that there's no way they could have done that,
Russia went in and took that vote for Clinton and changed it to Trump, I would be concerned about that. I would definitely, I'd be concerned whether the Russians did it, whether it was by mistake, whether some other country did it. I think we'd all be concerned about that. But it seems like what the argument is that Trump attempted to find out bad things about Hillary that were then told to the public that made them not vote for her, and it reminds me of the argument in the
that sounds like an election to me.
It reminds me of the argument in the criminal case, like, okay, you just have to look at Hillary and the information we have now. The other information about her that the Russians might have is inadmissible. You have to keep that out, like the murder of the first husband. You have to keep it out because it would so prejudice them for this particular voting election. We don't have any rules like that, though.
Well, it's
that
interesting.
I don't understand. So we found, is that what they're saying? Bad things were found out about Hillary and told to the American people, and it's not fair because we learned those bad things from Russia.
It's interesting that you make that point about the murder of the first husband or whatever, because I do watch a few of those shows. Sabrina's, my wife,
who doesn't,
loves those shows. And the funny thing about it is, they've got these investigators that, okay, the guy's in the ground for like 5 years or whatever. They go back and they found a thread somewhere, or they found a piece of DNA that was tucked in a corner somewhere. And I'm telling you, they can find somebody that killed somebody 8 years ago, and now that person is like, well, yeah, I didn't think they'd get me or whatever, and from something, a DNA, but they can't figure out what the hell Hillary did with her emails and how they got smashed. They can't figure out what goes on in Benghazi. They can't figure out why the Russians now have 20% of our mining rights. But they could find somebody that's been dead, who killed somebody that's been dead for 8 years. I don't understand how this country works. I'll tell you something right now. It's so ridiculous. And now they're going to just keep harping on the Donald Trump about the Russian thing. And I'm telling you, every day I get sick. And if I'm just the Mr. Dull Knife in the Drawer kind of Joe Schmo guy, I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a lot of people out there that are a lot sharper than I am, and they're true Americans that go to work every day, and they're getting tired of it too. And I can tell you this right now. The reason why this state right here is failing is because we have a lot of people going to work every day, and we have, and I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but we have
there
all
is
these.
No off topic on the morning.
We have
report.
all these sanctuary cities that are one reason why Connecticut is so deep in the hole, $5 billion in the hole, is because we got all these sanctuary cities in this state, and people are getting just free lunch this way, and the reason is, there's only one reason, is because the Democrats are trying to buy votes. That's, you have to circle it right around, and you have to say to yourself, why is it that the people, that they don't care about people? I can tell you this right now. Democrats do not care about people. That is the most asinine thing in the whole world. I don't care who cautions me on it. I don't care. And there's a lot of us that know it. Democrats do not care about people. They care about votes. And the only way they know they're going to get votes is if they have people under their thumb. And the only way they could have people under their thumb is if they own your ass. And if they own your ass, then you are beholden to the Democratic Party. You're beholden to them. The only thing they have a problem with is getting the people out the door to actually go vote. So they get buses and everything, and they bring people to the election sites and everything, and try to get them to vote. But I could tell you this right now: this country has gotten to the point where, and I'm going to say it not just for Democrats. I'm going to say it for Republicans too. There are companies that are getting away with absolute, we have to make it so that these people in Washington, and I think this is what Donald Trump's trying to do, is drain the swamp. We have to make it so that these people in Washington are not beholden to corporations, to, people. We have to get them out of office. I mean, both parties. We have to get them so that we're because I can tell you this right now. There's Republicans that have been in office for what seems like decades.
Definitely.
And they're not doing their job. They're not doing their job. The fact that Obamacare has not been repealed tells me that they like the fact that there's going to be a new government subsidy out there that they can have a big pool of money at. And healthcare is, I think, one third of the economy or 1/4 of the economy or whatever. So you're talking about, probably make the defense budget look thin. Once it gets going, these people know that they're going to have a pool of cash out there that they could build another government, entity that will just, turn into a Goliath there. And I think a lot of us are starting to realize that the people in this country aren't being represented properly. And I hope that we can start seeing these. We got to start sending good people to Washington again. We got to start sending the Abe Lincolns to Washington. And I'm not saying anybody in particular, but you know what? It's got to start happening, because when you see people running for office and you start scratching your head and you go, oh my God, this has gotten to the point where, why is this person? Well, it's because they've got millions of dollars that they could throw at a campaign. I mean, some of these campaigns are what, 50
Have you thought about our next governor and who you may or may not be supporting?
Well, I know it's not going to be Dan Malloy, just because he's said he's not going to run again. I don't know why. I think the people of Connecticut actually might elect him again.
Scary,
isn't it?
As scary as that is, I think it might be true.
Oh God, I'll tell you.
I know a couple people around here are looking at supporting Tim Herbst down in Trumbull. You might want to take a look at him. I think he's the first selectman down there, or the mayor. I don't know which, but he's one of them. He's conservative, has a pretty good platform.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I think we can go to the orangutan cage down in at the Bridgeport Zoo. And,
do they still have a zoo?
They do, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's probably not what it was, years ago. But
I'm not a big fan of zoos.
Well, we could pull a orangutan out of the cage, and I think he could actually run the state of Connecticut better. But if you listen to a broadcast where you've got Dan Malloy on, which I have listened to, he's like the best, according to himself. He's the best thing since sliced bread that as far as a governor goes. But that's the reason why this state, I believe, is because we have so many people on the dole. And when I say on the dole, getting subsidies from the money that we put into the coffers. And
hey Ed, did you read that article I sent you about the East Haven mayor? Now the East Haven mayor, what's his name? Art Maturo. And East Haven. Do you know anything about East Haven? They have a ton of problems down there. A ton of problems. corruption. They're under a federal consent decree for the police officers, just, you know, and we've had our own issues with East Haven and how they break the law. But there was an article in the Connecticut Law Tribune yesterday where a Supreme Court case, Connecticut Supreme Court case, ruled that and help me out, Ed, the mayor of East Haven cannot collect a pension, a disability pension for being a firefighter. He was a firefighter while he's been serving as mayor. Is that correct, Ed? Yeah, so and it's funny because the police chief came out and said, and obviously they're not friends. Maybe they're from different political parties. I don't know. There's something definitely going on down there, because the police chief came out and said, you know, I'm sick and tired of police officers retiring on disability and firefighters retiring on disability and then going out and getting gainful employment, you know, as security guards or this and that. He said, you're either disabled or you're not.
Or Bronco bull riders down in Florida, which I heard some guy went and did. And I'm going to myself, okay, how do I get that gig? Where I'm not sure I really want to be a Bronco bull rider, but I'm like going, geez, you know, I get to go out. And I know there's a lot of departments, just so you know. I do have friends on a lot of departments, and one of the departments, I won't name the department, but we had a gentleman went out on a disability, and now he's a pro at a golf, golf course.
That sounds
so,
like heaven.
you know, I mean, geez, doing those swings and everything. I mean, the last time I played golf, it's a pretty active sport. But here's the problem now. When you go out on disability, you basically effectively take, and I know we're down to the bottom here, but when you go out on disability, you basically take the money that you'd be making, and you're out on disability, but that's the money that is allotted for another police officer.
Oh, absolutely.
So now you're shorting a police department. So when you're going in to see a domestic or something like that, you know, the third guy or the second guy that might be going out to help you with a domestic, which you send two people out on domestics because they're always usually the worst calls to go out on, you might not have your backup there because somebody went out on. So in my opinion, sometimes I think to myself, you know, some of these guys, I think they're really, really, I hate to use the word, scumbags. If you're going out on a disability because you truly have a disability, that's one thing. But when you're going out and then you're going down to Florida to do Bronco bull riding, you know what? You're a scumbag.
So we're going to be down in East Haven tonight, and maybe Ed and I will be reporting more about that next Monday. Join us Monday at 7 o'clock or Saturday for our Summer Judgment Show. Have a great rest of the week. Bye. Thanks, Chris.
Thank
We got to put your name up there. We'll put your name up there, guest Thursday host. So how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I went to Dan's brother's funeral yesterday. Boy, that was